everyone, J-Rob Place here, and today I'm bringing you the next video in the series for the Guardian ranks. In this case, we're covering the rank 5 requirements. I've already gone through and completed those, so that way we can kind of see what's going on as far as rank 6 goes. But first I'm going to cover the rank 5, how to get those, and go into detail because some of them are a little confusing or they're worded poorly. So let's start off with the easy one. In order to get these, you're going to have to get to 200 power first, because the portal activity requirements, some of them require you to be at a higher rank. So like the faction unit modifier has to be expert difficulty, as with the difficult threat challenge modifiers, that's also expert difficulty. In order to do expert difficulty, of course, you need to get to 200 power. So yes, you'll get some of these done just along the way of doing those, but first thing is first is to get to 200 power. So go ahead and grind anything in the fire team ops, anything in your crucible ops, anything in your pinnacle ops. Those things are going to be giving you the bonus power. Also, what I did too is I went to Kepler, and if you go to Kepler and you go to the main area where you can focus any of your items, so you can focus any of the armor, you can focus weapons. What I was able to do is run around gathering the chests, like this Metamorph chest here. As you can see, I've cleared most of the areas, and what I did is I grabbed a chest or I killed a major that was there, like a named boss, and then those bosses will also sometimes drop the item that you are set to get as far as your focusing item at light, and then from there you can go to the next item and the next item, and so you can see, okay, what's low. So right now I've got like a low heavy and a low special item. I can choose those as my options to pick up. So like this one here would be something I could focus, and then this would drop and this would give me the boost that I need in order to get to the next section. Same thing with the heavy, and then same thing with your primary. So I did the same thing also on this side. I just picked my lowest item. You can also do that by grabbing items from the past. If you have the mod on your Chrome or your Firefox browser that allows you to go to bungie.net and pick up items from the past, you can grab armor and do the same thing. Just look for your lowest level armor item, and then you can pick that up as well. And I may do a separate video on that, but that one's kind of like an extra thing. I still have a lot of extra stuff to get out first for you guys. So going back into the ranks, we're going to be looking now at the portal activities. Now that we're at 200, you're going to get in your portal activity a training section. So when you go over to the portal and you're going into your areas of choice, whether it's solo, fire team, pinnacle, or crucible, I usually play solo, and you click into here. When you customize it, there is a training up here right above normal, and the next section will tell you once you get to 180, you'll be able to do the armor modifications, which are here. Now, at first you're only going to have one. You're not going to have the HUD modifier. You'll get that later on as you get higher light. But when you come into here and you choose the armor modifier, one of them is avant-garde, which is you have to have only new gear and items. This one, of course, is equipment lock. This one's always the easiest because you already have your loadout. You don't really change it around too much. But this one is going to be the one you start with first, and it gives you a large chunk, as you can see, towards your difficulty. Now, when you're choosing your armor and your weapons, you'll notice that in the corner here, you're going to have these little indicators showing that it is a featured item or weapon. And so I'm going to switch to an all-featured setup that I made. So these are all featured because they all have the little banner up in the corner. And if you're trying to pick an exotic to build around, you can actually go into your collection, go into your exotics, and you can see what are the featured weapons that you'd like to use, and then what are the featured gear that you would like to use. And these are all the gear that are pertinent to your class. So each class is going to have a different list of things to choose from. But you can see that I decided to choose Seek and Filaments, and I decided to go with a Void class because it's a little bit busted on Prismatic, and that made it to where I was hard to die because, number one, I was using the broken version of the third iteration. When you have the anti-barrier scout active, it does additional damage and it burns things really quickly. And then, of course, when I have Devour going, once I've dropped my Rift, this is going to keep me alive for the most part. I almost rarely ever got to the point where I was close to dying. And, of course, the only thing that will ever kill me really is falling off the map or something where, like, my Warlock doesn't grab onto something and I just float off the side. Once you've done this avant-garde, then you're going to also want to continue on to complete additional activities in Expert. Now, what I was doing as well when I was grinding my light to 200 is getting credit for this by going into the Fire Team Finder and choosing things that were in the fire team ops. And if you notice, a lot of the first things that show up are the most populated ones. Things that are pushed back here tend to be a little less populated for some reason. I guess people just choose the first thing and just go for it. But basically, you're going to choose something, you're going to go into it, and if you see somebody like this that's got like higher level power, they're likely going to be able to access the expert and set you up on expert. And because of fire team power, you'll actually be able to perform well in the expert difficulty. So just by going into a fire team ops and finding somebody with higher power who's going to be grinding the higher tier anyways, you'll get access to a lot of these things that you normally wouldn't get access to and be able to complete some of these things as well ahead of time. Now, here's where the confusion usually starts for most people, is for the activity modifiers. So people are like, what is a faction unit modifier? What is a faction drop modifier? Threat modifier, difficult threat, what's the difference? The surge modifiers, those are really easy normally, and then the major negative modifiers, usually easy to find, but some of these can be a little tough because they're not in every single activity. So to give you an example, if I go over to my solo ops again, and I go and I look at different options. I was running the salt mines because that was where I had bonus ability to get either boots or other items would pop up. And in the salt mines, when you go into here and you're on expert, you'll have additional choices to make. When you look at the challenge modifiers, this is going to be where some of those things are housed. So if I come over here, I can see that there's a threat right away. These are the regular threats. Not everything is going to have a difficult threat, but this one does. So this one says difficult stasis threat. This one is, if you put this on, you'll take 50% more stasis damage, which is fine normally because not a whole lot of things do stasis damage as it is. And when they do, it's usually AoE damage. So this is a good one to use to do your difficult stasis threat. That'll be on the easier side. As you can see, there's also a minor negative modifier. And these are the minor ones, they're not the major one that you need, but this one, energy drain, is a major negative modifier. So this will satisfy the major negative modifier. And what this one does, of course, is it's going to make it to where you take longer to do your grenades and things like that. I didn't go with this one. I went with different ones like the promotion, because stuff really doesn't beat me very often, so I don't really get to see promoted combatants. Even though they're bugged and they create like a large lens flare, you can still get by as long as you don't get killed. You don't have to worry about the promoted units. But this is the one that I particularly did for the major negative modifiers. And so, as you see here, I only have certain things here that are not going to be influencing what I need for all of the requirements, right? So if I'm going over to different challenge modifiers, there is no unit modifiers that I can see here. These are not unit modifiers, none of these. And so now I'm going to choose a different option. I'm going to go to the conflux. And when you go to the conflux and you start looking at different options, you're going to see that there's different things here. So now what we're going to be finding is there's a faction unit modifier here for the first time. Now this one is air superiority. This one means flying units do increased damage. So in this case, anything like a harpy, something like that, is going to do those damage. And there's a faction drop modifier. The ones that I was working with when I was doing it were actually taken that day. So they were taking geysers that drop from enemies, and it just drops like one geyser and goes away. It's not like forever, which would be a little bit harder. And then this one here, the faction drop, same thing. This is like a taken geyser thing. So that's what these are here. But for Vex, of course, it's just going to be goblins are going to drop those little arc pools on the ground that the exploding units normally drop, and then they'll disappear after a little while. Same thing as a taken geyser. But these are the two things that you're looking for, and you can put them in the same run. So you can go to faction unit modifier, you can go to faction drop modifier, and you can load them both up. And now this run is going to satisfy both of those requirements. And as I'm going through this, you'll also see in the background, I'll be posting some video of me kind of getting them to pop up and through each of the items that I did. And I was able to get, I think, like 3 and 3, because again, the surge is also going to be something available in that. And the surges work just like a surge did in the prior seasons. If you've played before, you'll know that surge is just a mod that's going to give you increased damage to a certain element type. So if I go back and I go to look to see if any of these are an option here, these boons are going to be different when you go to expert. Normally, if you're in advanced and you're looking at boons, you're used to seeing like a grenade boon, you're used to seeing like a brawler boon. But when you go into the modifiers for the expert, they change entirely. Now they're going to be based on finishers, be based on sliding. This one here allows you to get a buff if you revive from a death during a limited revive activity, for example. And then this one, of course, is like a healing finisher. This one will replace the mod that you normally have on your bond or your mark. And these are the surge mods. So just right now I've got Void Surge and Strand Surge, and you can load both of them up together as well, and they give you like a minor change. But these are the things that you need to complete. And I don't know if it requires you to actually use the proper surge for it to count, because I did already have Void equipped. So that may be another catch, is if it's not working for you and you've got these two equipped but you're using a solar class, maybe switch to something that does some strand damage or void damage so you get a little bit of credit while you're doing the activity, and it actually gives you that property. So if you see that weird bug, just switch to the element that matches the surge that you're using, and this will be the surge mod. So we've covered the faction units, we've covered the threats, the difficult threats, surge, and then the major negative modifiers. And the last thing is just to be the reward track. Now that's going to be something that you can do when you're already done with everything else. And I do recommend waiting, because when you get to 200 power, there's going to be limited ways now of you getting items that are going to raise your power. Everything that drops that normally just regular through play is going to be at 200 power stuck. You won't get these items unless you get them through some other means. So these items that are going to be higher power are going to be items that drop like your gear. That can still be used when you're talking about getting past gear. These items here, these portal activities, these are going to drop above 200 power. So if you can save these till the end of your 200 grind, that would be ideal. Same thing with your exotic engrams. But what the game's actually requiring is going to be something that Zavala gives you, and the way that you earn that is through your seasonal hub. Now, as you're doing your grind to 200, as long as you are doing these things that are already in the seasonal hub, and you're going and you're already getting great beer better, you're already using solar stasis damage, the focus activity is going to be something that you're grinding anyways to get your gear up, portal activities, and orb ammo generation or ammo bricks, those are going to be automatically generated. You should be getting these done by the time your 200 grind is done. And of course, as you're logging in daily, you can do these daily challenges, and that'll also help get you further down your weekly rank reward. Now this here is a reward track that is going to be separate from like your battle pass, and these will have rewards that are going to be separate from that as well. And so as you see, as you go along, you'll get seasonal bonus gear, which is again something you can get over 200 with. And then you're going to be getting these arsenal credits. Now this is what it's referring to. It doesn't name them properly when you're looking at that, because I was a little confused as well. I was like, what is an armor requisition instead of an armor credit? But that's exactly what it is. So when you go and you get those activated, you can claim them, and then you can get 2 coins that are going to give you rewards through Zavala. Now I've already claimed mine for the week, and I should have some video of myself claiming that I'll actually load up here in a second, so you can see what it looks like when you actually claim it properly. I claimed the bond, and then later on I came back to try to get something higher on my gear, because it's another way to get over that 200 mark. So you can save these as well till you're done with your 200 grind. That'll be the last thing that you do. You claim this and you pick this up from Zavala, you get credit for it, and then once you're done getting that, then you should have everything selectable, and you come back into your journey. Of course, you select everything, and if you're new again, you come back over here and you advance your guardian rake at the tree right next to Zavala. You get the fireworks, of course, and then boom, next rank, which you should already be familiar with this, because you would have already done that with 3 and 4. And now we are done with this particular rank, and we're going to move into the next section showing us the rank 6 requirements. So rank 5 is done, rank 6 is coming up next. As you can see, the next thing is to do an expert conquest activity, and then you go from there. A lot of these things are already going to be done for me because I've done them in a prior season, so I'm just going to knock out what I need to, and then I'll give you guys a rank 6 video so that we can get to rank 7 together. If you have any questions, again, drop them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer anything. And again, thanks for watching the end. I'll see you in the next one.